We're back again. I've got the agitator ready. I've got the new belt ready to put on. Pop the agitator in, making sure that the square section end goes in that side, a round one in that side. When you put the belt on, make sure you put it on the right way round. If you don't, it'll just fly off again. There's a little diagram here that shows you which way to put the belt on and the direction of rotation. So if you follow that, you can't really go wrong. It's like that. It's a bit tight to start with. And that's the belt on in the correct way. You can now pop the lower cover plate on and do it up. Oh, just two clips holds it on. One thing to remember about this model, this is the early one with the two position wheel adjustment, and one complaint that sometimes people bring them in for repair or have done in the past, not picking up, it's because they've got this wrong. This, all you do on this when you've got the machine upright is you press down on the lever, press down on the wheels, and that clicks in, and what it does, it pulls the wheels in, which means the front of the cleaner is off the carpet more. It's for really thick carpets, but a lot of people don't realise it's on, like so. That's off now, and it means if you're on a thin carpet, then the brushes won't hit the floor properly, so always make sure that isn't hooked on when you've serviced it. I'll stand it back up now. That's basically most of it done. I'm going to put the hood on. I've got a new hood here. Interestingly, note the difference in detail with stuff they made in those days to what they make today. These little clips here that hold the hood on, notice as well as having the threads in them, and they're screwed to this part, they've also got little supports here, and they thoughtfully put those on so that when you put the hood on, it presses against the metalwork and stops you from over tightening it, which would actually crack it. Today they wouldn't bother with things like that, but it's just a little detail that means things were better made then. And just turn it over so it's located properly, and then it's just simply a matter of doing the screws up. That one, and the other side. There you go. That's it, job done. That's everything done there. Incidentally, if you ever need to change the switch, it's underneath this piece here. Is just a simple on-off switch. Wires go through, but you just take that off and you can get to the switch that way. It's only held on by two screws. So I'll stand that up now. There's a new bag on it. The zip's broken, as you can see. So I'm going to put a new bag on. This is the old style bag, which is held on with one of these stupid cable ties. So I'm laughing because the wife just walked in the middle of my filming and I told her to buzz off. And she's poking through the door and grinning at me. Take that off. The earlier models, they had a proper metal clamp with a screw in, a much better job. No, take that off, chuck that out. That's no good now. Zip's gone. While you're doing this, take that off. Give it a clean out in there. There we go. This is the bag bellows. It's a flexible part between the paper bag and the cleaner. Make sure there's no holes in it. They do crack from time to time. You get cracks in there, and dust will blow out everywhere. That's not quite fitted on right there. Probably got some dirt underneath it. Like that. That's better. Make sure there's a seal around there, a felt seal, which seals the bag flange to the back of the cleaner to stop dust pouring out. You might find some of these early models, there's foam around inside this bag tube, and what used to happen was the foam, gradually it would deteriorate and come loose. It was held on with some adhesive, and it would come loose and actually block it, and you get all the dust and dirt build up, and it's just a question of removing the foam. The only purpose it served on the original machines, they did have a problem with a kind of whistling noise when it was working, and they put the felt round it because it seemed to eliminate the whistling noise, but later on they got rid of it altogether. It was a nuisance and you just have a plain tube then. So I've got a new bag here. It's a genuine Hoover one, surprisingly. It's the new type. Make sure you get it on the right way round, because that's the top where it goes on the cleaner flange. So it must go in that way round with the clip at the bottom. There's a groove for it there. It's a bit fiddly, these things. I prefer the old-fashioned ones myself. I suppose these are quicker, cheaper. Because I'm lucky I've even got a bag for this model now, because most of the spares are probably obsolete long ago. which is a great shame in my opinion. Just tighten it up. That's it. Tighten it up, clip the end off, and that's it. I'll have to put a new bag on there. It's no good putting a dirty old bag on a machine. I'll just stop the camera while I go and find one. Right, I found a bag. Genuine Hoover again. Unusual, I know, these days. Don't suppose anybody interested in watching this anyway, but I'll just put the bag on. Much easier to do it when it's off the cleaner. Just fold the corners around like that and roll the ring across the bag. Easier than this is. Into that there's a groove that holds it on. It's quite simple, but again, why all these modern bags today which have cardboard fittings that you just fill it up and throw it away are wasteful? This, you can just empty it and then replace it again. Of course, most of the modern machines don't have bags at all anyway. They've got these stupid filters which are supposed to be better, but in actual fact it costs you more because you have to keep replacing the filters. Personally, I prefer paper bags. I think they're better. They're better for the environment as well, probably. There you go, that's the bag done. Shame it's a brown one, but I haven't got a blue one. That just hooks under there. Pop it on the clip, spring clip, and hook it onto the. That's it. We should be ready to go now. When you're servicing a cleaner, always check the cable. Take the plug off just to make sure, because it hasn't been unknown to find plugs. I'll get a bigger screwdriver, it'll be easier. To find plugs wired incorrectly. Don't forget, it will still work if they have the neutral wire in the earth. That one's okay. It's got a 13 amp fuse in. Some people advocate putting a smaller fuse in. I don't, because on a vacuum cleaner, when you start it up, the starting current of the motor is much greater than the running current, and if you put a smaller fuse in, it may be correct when it's running, but you might get occasionally problems when it starts up. It can actually blow the fuse in some cases, so 13 is quite adequate. If you're going to get a major fault on it, it's going to blow a fuse, it's going to blow a 13 practically just as quick as a 5 amp really, so we always leave 13s in these cases. Definitely if you're dealing with something like a table lamp or something where there's no starting load on it or anything. Always check the flex, make sure there's no bare wire showing what isn't worn anyway. That was fairly fine. And now it's basically a question of plugging in and testing. I think I'm being a bit brave trying to do it live without trying it first off camera, so I'm quite confident. It's probably going to sound a bit noisy to start with, because it's got new brushes in it, and that'll make it really noisier. There we go. Oh, that wants to go on its own. But the new brushes are moving the machine along, because it sounds a lot better actually. There you go. Far superior to any modern machine. I defy anybody to try a new machine and say it's better. They might look fancy and nice colours, but these machines are, I mean, you bear in mind, look how old it is. We're talking about, this model particularly is pre-1970, so that's 46 years to start with, and it's still working, and it's still working properly, and it will clean the carpets more efficiently than a modern one today. In my opinion, it's a great shame they're all been disappearing, but today it's just throw away, and people have one of these, it goes wrong, rather than buy rather than have it mended, they just go and buy a new one and chuck this away, and it's gone for good. But I try and keep them going as much as I can. Anyway, there you are, Hoover 652 652A in fully working order. That'll keep the wife happy for a while. Bye.